until they got the money. That actually makes sense. So there was talk about money owed, and there was clearly money owed. That's been officially announced by WWE. That's not speculation. Money was owed that was not paid. But exactly what happened that led to Vince McMahon having whatever happened, we don't know. Now, WWE allegedly responded by cutting the TV feed, and the government responded in kind by essentially, quote, kidnapping the talent. Naturally, now that's not the sort of accusation you just throw around lightly, Paystee, because kidnapping is a grave crime, and it comes with significant punishment. Though, I guess, when you're a government who sets its own rules anyways and can behead random folks at will, maybe not. We don't. But apparently this whole thing was resolved. Nobody lost their head as far as we know of, and thus the show was going on ahead on delay. But that still doesn't entirely account for why the talent were delayed so long subsequently. It does, though, Paystee, however, add some insight into why they were told a different story about why they were stranded.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Paystee, take this.
Hugo Savanovich wrote it was a very difficult and dangerous situation because of the fact that Saudi Arabia had already been in serious trouble when they killed the reporter in Turkey at the embassy. So the boys were they were very, very concerned. It was just about big, big money. Millions of dollars that this guy did not spend, and Vince got upset and cut the feed for Saudi Arabia. And that has the prince upset, and it stopped them from leaving the country and got them off the plane. So basically what they're doing is they're originally trying to make it look like it was just a mechanical situation. But an executive from the company told me not to mention any names, but they were concerned. They were very concerned. Of course, we always know that money talks, and if Vince gets the millions of dollars and maybe the Middle East, that big TV contract, because it didn't happen, and in one day he lost over $200 million in stock. So it's a very complicated situation, but the talent was, I don't want to use the word kidnapped, but he ordered a kidnapping and the guys were stopped from leaving the country. Now, on the back of that story, in a tweet which he said the talent was being coerced into releasing videos to blame the delay on mechanical issues, Meltzer says the official line offered to the talent was that it genuinely was mechanical issues. Again, it fits with the fact that Atlas Air, the charter company, issued an apology for the mechanical issue and delay.
Yeah, Paystee, but Meltzer's latest suggestion is that the talent were effectively lied to about the reason. And while no one person who he spoke to actually did believe the story at all, the majority were unswayed by the attempt to shape the narrative. They fly a lot, these WWE independent contractors, if you were. And mechanical issues, Paystee, even if you fly mediocrely, and sometimes only if you've only flown once, you know that mechanical issues are inevitable. But the manner of the delay and the fact that there were military police around the plane and in the hotels, well, that suggests that this was a little out of the ordinary. Perhaps that's why the called for videos hadn't really arrived en masse. You didn't get a ton of WWE wrestlers supporting the WWE narrative, especially not while they were over there. Intriguingly, Meltzer claims he knows some WWE names who never want to return to Saudi Arabia, while some are actually considering leaving the company in the next few months, at least according to Dave. If that's the case, Paystee, this is going to cost the WWE a lot more than just the money they were owed.
Yes. Oh, and it just heats up even more on social media as numerous WWE superstars have commented about not being in the top 20 or the first group that flew out of Saudi Arabia.
Say it isn't so.
It's so, and there's a list. Curtis Axel wrote on Twitter, not the hashtag top 20, middle finger emoji. I'm number one at home, or is that hashtag one? We'll never know. We don't leave each other behind at WWE, calling them out specifically.
Well, on his Instagram, Luke Harper commented, Larry, I'm home. Folks, I don't know who the fuck Larry is.
He's been talking to Larry on Instagram for quite some time. Okay. I like it. It's his own sister, Abigail.
I like to think that it's the Larry from Impractical Jokers. Larry, I'm home. I guess I didn't want it enough to pay for my own charter. But I'm home now. Hashtag not top 20.
Carl Anderson tweeted, couldn't pay me enough to go back. Well, that's not true. I need a second pool. So, to which his wife replied, second house, not a pool, but don't ever go back again. We don't need our daddy / poppy / mother lover / Abs Anderson / best tag team, etc. He's the best tag team by himself.
Of course. And he's the Abs Sander.
Abs Sanders.
Abs Sander. Abs Sanderson.
A Bernie Sanders on.
Abs Sanders on.
But we don't need him being held hostage while we're at home worrying to death.
Yeah, she specifically said being held hostage. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the fact, though, that these two are bickering over social media while there's a hostage situation. Right. We need a second pool. Not a second pool, just in a second house. I love that.
It can have a pool, too, though.
Tyson Kidd said, talking about pools, Paystee, next time we'll pool our money together instead of being lazy, because apparently that was being thrown around that the wrestlers who didn't get on the first chartered flights, personal private jets, are lazy, apparently.
Yeah. I guess Tyson Kidd's there for his wife. That makes sense. I'm done talking. While the bald, hairless, albino, vanilla midget Eric Young tweeted, I'll pitch in, guys. Next time I'll have more pride in myself and take it upon myself to be better. What a world. What a fucking universe.
Paystee was nice enough to let me say Scott Dawson said hashtag poor.
Yes. AEW World Champion Chris Jericho even chimed in, saying, shame on you lazy embarrassments to the company. Glad everybody made it home safely.
Another knock at the whole lazy deal. Carl Anderson, Paystee, was Machine Gun Carl Anderson, if you will, and I do. He was hoping for a leader to step up. And he actually tweeted, looking forward to seeing who the locker room leader is on Monday. And then he added not only a popcorn emoji, but a heart emoji.
I love Carl Anderson.
I love him too. His hashtag hot Asian wife, sexy Asian wife. What is it? Hot Asian wife, right?
Wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hashtag beat up John Cena.
Instead, they got in a meeting on Monday. They were lambasted by a rah-rah speech from Seth Rollins,
according to Dave Meltzer.
Which the main. To be fair, folks, Meltzer did not come up with the lambasted word. That was mine, and I'm proud of it. So, Paystee can drop the Dave Meltzer thing all he wants, but the lambasted I'm taking fucking credit for. The quotes, all Dave Meltzer. Lambasted, Fat Mack. They were lambasted by a rah-rah speech from Seth Rollins in which the main point was, quote, don't air your grievances on social media, end quote. Triple H also called out Carl Anderson, who we just spoke of, for comments he made on Twitter about who would be the locker room leader. Anderson reportedly didn't say much of anything. That's a smart move, Carl. But there was said to be...
I'll do it.
But there was said to be more heat on Anderson because of he and his wife saying that he shouldn't go back to Saudi Arabia.
Hey, Triple H still let him go to NXT.
Now, after arriving back in the States, AJ Styles had an interview with Mixer Gaming where he finally opened up at least a little bit about the situation. Now, this was after being asked multiple times, but Styles finally gave his own perspective on the situation based on the facts that he knew. He said, quote, "We were supposed to leave after the show. We got to the airport. They weren't letting us board. What was the problem? Not really sure. Heard there was a fuel truck in the way. The guy who drove the truck had left to go... Oh, excuse me. The guy who drove the truck left to go home. I know, that makes no sense. Why would the fuel guy leave if he knows he's got a plane that's leaving? Then there was some paperwork issues. The problem was we spent all that time waiting to board the plane. They are telling us we can't go anywhere. Finally, after at least 4 to 5 hours, we get on the plane. Then they find something wrong. The fuel or something or another was broken."
Yeah. You know, I can kind of see how even if it was mechanical issues, it would get misstrewn because it's basically like a high school in the airport with all the wrestlers speculating on what's happening and nobody knows what's going on.
Sure. But what else did AJ have to say, Paystee?
Well, he went on to say there is no point in getting mad, getting angry about something I have no control of. I'm home now.
That's true.
And I'm happy to be here. We'll find out as we go along why things happened, or we won't. I won't know what's going to happen going forward, but it's just going to be what it's going to be. I'll deal with it when I need to, but I'm not going to throw WWE under the bus, or airplane for that matter, because then it wouldn't take off. That's not how I work. I'm a guy who's committed to making the best product that I can, and it's not going to do me any good to throw good people under the bus. There are a lot of good people that work for WWE, and I will not make them look bad. There are a lot of people that were on the plane with me. Until I know more, I'm not going to say anything. And if I did find out, and I was offended, I will go to the source. Believe that. He turned into Roman Reigns for a second.
Right.
And then quickly succumbed to the leukemia and became AJ Styles again. Whew.
Oh, no!
Couldn't handle that one. Corey Graves also spoke on the situation with After the Bell, as well as on his own podcast, but that's a WWE thing. Admitting the airport situation was weird. It was definitely unusual. We got to the airport immediately after the Crown Jewel event. There were a litany of delays, and no one seemed to be able to get a surefire answer as to what was causing the delays. We heard everything from the fuel truck was parked on the runway to the guy that drove the fuel truck wasn't there. There were literally 10 or 15 reasons why we couldn't get on the plane. Alfred Kanua of Forbes reached out to WWE for a comment and reports that they swiftly denied the owed money allegations that were first brought up by former WWE and current AAA announcer Hugo Savinovich. Kanua added how WWE confirmed to him that their relationship still remains strong with partners in the kingdom. Regarding how Crown Jewel started almost an hour late on NBC Action Network in Saudi Arabia, WWE told Kanua that the TV feeds issued in the kingdom were entirely unrelated to anything regarding a payment.
Well, of course they were unrelated. That's just weird to even think differently.
Right.
They owed him money. It didn't air. The two things have nothing to do with each other.
God, I wish Vince tweeted like Trump does. Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh my gosh. We'd have a podcast just reading the tweets.
We almost had that at one point with the two tweets.
That is true.
WWE reiterated the mechanical issues were the cause of the flight delay, pointing to how Atlas Air, the charter company, also issued an apology for the mechanical issues, which obviously couldn't be solved with a small amount of American dollars.
Of course.
With all that being said, on Monday, WWE announced that they revised the deal with the Saudi General Entertainment Authority to include a second annual large-scale event and extending the deal to 2027.
Well, they didn't extend the deal, but they did add an extra event every year.
So is that